The National Lacrosse Hall of Fame recognizes 313 men and women. Just one is black, Jim Brown. If possible, he may have been a better lacrosse player than a running back as an All-America at Syracuse in the mid-1950s. But few African Americans followed Jim Brown into the sport of lacrosse. This Black History Month, though, is an opportunity to remember a largely unknown story in the integration of college sports. This account does contain racially sensitive language that some may find objectionable. Jeremy Shapnow with the story of a group of young men not that long ago.
A father playing catch with his son. An American portrait. In Baltimore, though, it's lacrosse, as much as baseball or football, that links the generations. But this father and son share a unique lacrosse history, one forged in the turmoil of the civil rights movement.
It is an unhappy truth that racism is a way of life.
Baltimore, 1969. The campus of Morgan State University. Set against the backdrop of a country in the throes of a Black Power revolution, a group of students led by Miles Harrison Jr. had a dream to organize a lacrosse team, the first fielded by an historically black college.
Contact sports allowed us legal rights to engage with Caucasian people. And so they felt that this was a metaphor for life right now. Our struggle on that field bore resemblance to what was going on in America.
Oh, made me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Yeah.
These were times when Martin Luther King was assassinated. It was like power to the people. I'm black and I'm proud. And the only way that we could really release this energy was through athletic competition.
There were no historically black colleges that ever had a lacrosse team. I don't think they ever thought of having a lacrosse team.
Morgan State, though, decided to form a team and tapped Chip Silverman, a 27-year-old white man, as its coach. A Morgan State administrator, Silverman had grown up playing lacrosse, but had never coached.
I introduced myself. There was a player named Stanley Cherry, and he came up at the end of the meeting and he introduced himself. He says, "Hi, name's Cherry, and I hate white people."
Wearing discarded football jerseys and wielding makeshift sticks, the Morgan State Bears took the field as a varsity team in 1971. Relying on their size, speed, and strength, the 10 Bears, as the team came to be known, stunned the white lacrosse establishment. Clad in bright orange, they intimidated opponents with their aggressiveness, much of it an expression of their frustration with the racial status quo.
Rather than just play another black college or university, we were playing the white boys. And this is the opportunity for us to beat the white boys. And it's an opportunity for us to put some of the white boys in the hospital.
If you're a kid from Amherst or Swarthmore coming down here to play Morgan, and you see these guys come at you on the field, that's terrifying. I got a big kick out of that.
But even the daunting sight of the Bears did not dissuade some opponents from hurling ugly racial epithets.
I told the kids, they're going to try this. And if you let your emotions get the best of you and you get thrown out of the game, you're off the team.
They would make comments, like, nigga don't know how to play this game, or things like that. And I would just score another goal and say, well, that's how a nigga scores.
You want to deal with these guys? After the game, go up and say, you want to call me a nigger now? The game's over. They wanted to get out of there now.
Few felt the impact of what the 10 Bears were achieving more deeply than Clarence Tiger Davis, a Morgan State graduate and, at the time, a local leader of the Black Power movement.
They were my heroes, and I saw the kind of racism and animosity they encountered. They became even greater heroes to me at that particular time. This team did for sports on the East Coast what Martin Luther King did for blacks all over the country.
In the spring of 1975, Morgan State traveled to Virginia to play the top-ranked team in the nation, the Washington and Lee Generals. At a school whose name, in part, honors the general who commanded the Confederate Army, the 10 Bears pulled off an historic upset.
Washington and Lee. That's the epitome of Southern aristocracy, you know. And to take it to Southern aristocracy was a feeling that only a black man could appreciate.
But 5 years after defeating the #1 team in the nation, Morgan State, in the midst of a fiscal crisis, dropped its decade-old lacrosse program.
I don't think there'll ever be a social experiment in sport to parallel what we went through. It almost still brings a tear to my eye when I think about it now in retrospect.
Today, the spirit of the 10 Bears lives on in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins, home of one of the most successful programs in college lacrosse. A generation ago, Miles Harrison and his Morgan State teammates would have been unwelcome at Hopkins. Today, Miles' son Kyle is the Blue Jays' most accomplished player. A senior midfielder, he's the team captain, and a two-time finalist for the National Player of the Year award.
Running away from the orange and scores! What an effort, Kyle Harrison!
I think it's the ultimate honoring of Dad. To have my son not only be accepted, but be one of the cogs in that Hopkins lacrosse machine is very, very gratifying to me.
For a little black kid, you don't really have many people to look up to, and so it's nice to have the 10 Bears and that team at Morgan State to look up to, and you say those guys did it, why can't I do it?
We look at this kid like we all look at him like our son. Oh yeah, I played with his dad. That's our boy. Yeah, we're very proud of him, and all of us go to Hopkins games now to watch Kyle.
When I see Kyle playing on the field, I do see him in a Morgan uniform. Sometimes it's almost like he goes out of that blue and white uniform and I see that orange pop up on him. And I see the pride going down the field.
Miles and Kyle Harrison still play the hard white ball passing from father to son, from the Bear to the Blue Jay, from the past to the present, and back again.